just now get a little bit here. Let's get this all the way down. I had a friend stop by, Navy buddy of mine, and told me specifically, he's like, hey, I'm gonna kidnap you for a minute. But you gotta promise me something. He's like, whatever you do, you gotta call out, you gotta say something for the haters. All right. Well, because this was a request from my friend Nicholas. Thank you very much, Nicholas. He picked me up, he kidnapped me. We went over to the store and he bought me a 30-pack of beer, and he goes, you do a live feed, you do sharpening, you drink a beer, and you fucking do a little day drinking just for the haters. Nicholas watches my channel. I said, would you want to stick around? You'd be in a video. And he's like, absolutely not. He doesn't want to have anything to do with being on my YouTube channel. He's like, you better make sure. You promise me you're going to do that. And I was like, all right. As soon as we get back, I'll crack into one. So this is for the haters. So I now have a 30-pack sitting in there that I probably should start putting in the refrigerator, but it's 100% his idea, and I left the knife in there. Hang on a second, let me go grab it, and I gotta grab my other stone. I was rinsing it off. So, Nicholas, I've known Nicholas since 1990. I've known Nicholas since 1999. 99? No, probably 97. He's here local now. He's pretty far along in his career. He's coming up, he'll be coming up on 20 soon. He was one of the younger guys that I knew in Sasebo, Japan. So let's look at it. Where did I leave off? I was working on this stone, but it needed rinsed. So, yep, that was his whole thing. So there's only a couple of you, so this can be quick. We're just gonna do a little sharpening. I'd already started on this before I left. This is that Ray Laconico that came in that I'm working on. Wow, there's only two of y'all? I would figure that I had a lot of people say that they wanted more live sharpening videos instead of just the morning live feeds. So, only two. About to be one, gotta go to sleep. Well, maybe I'll just end this. Maybe that'll just be it. I have got part of the video that I was gonna shot. I wanted to get that part done quick. And so I did that kind of the beginning right after the live feed. I'm gonna finish it up. I got just the beginning and I was like, you know what? I can do this a little bit later. So that, if I do that, then I've kind of committed myself to that video. So I will probably finish that video up then a little bit later for you guys and get it posted up. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a premiere or not on that. Let's see. Does this do a better job? This XHP on this is a little, it's pretty hard. I don't know what heat treat they used on this was, but it's rough. It's rough to sharpen. There's some rough going. But I started to shoot the video. I got my stones all flattened and everything, and I had just barely put this on the stone when Nicholas was like, hey, I'm swinging by, get some shoes on. I was like, all right. He took me to the mini mart. He's like, I'm gonna buy you beer, but you gotta promise. Promise you'll drink one and do a live feed. I was like, well, I can do that. So who all is here? I know Nicholas is probably here. He's just not gonna roger up. He was going to go straight home. He worked until late last night, apparently. So Josh was here. I would imagine Nicholas is probably gonna either be on here or he's gonna watch it later. He's probably tired. He worked all night. they're going through it like almost a yard period. So yeah, I know you work nights, Jeremy. So Nicholas is probably gonna go home and go to sleep and then watch this later. But yeah, I'm doing a live feed sharpening. We haven't done it in a while, and I was like, you know what? Like I said, people have asked about it. I can do it, and it's not too bad out here today. The lighting's pretty good. I was gonna sharpen in the house because it is kind of windy, but it's not that windy. It's not cold. I do need to close this up. If I don't close that, then the dog will come out and get in this big puddle of water out here from when it was raining a little bit this morning and track garbage all over. So ooh, booty. This stuff is wear resistant. This might wind up being one of those batches of XHP. Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's not going to still be up later. I save these. How is the quality of this? I don't know what all I can see is what the camera looks like to me. So I don't have any clue how clear the feed is. If it's kind of shitty looking, we will adjourn this. Great, okay, cool. Let me know if the quality starts to drop off for you guys, and I'll end it. I don't want you guys to have to watch a pixelated garbage potato-esque feed. This stuff is hard. And part of that, I will tell you guys something that I've discovered. And I checked it against my resident genius, the two Williamson brothers, because I did a refinish on this. So I asked them, I've noticed that steels will sharpen different and feel different on my stones after a refinish. And I was asking about it because they don't have a vibratory tumbler. What they have is it's like a rock tumbler. So everything that's in there tumbles, and so it's round, but then it's got these facets inside, like it's an octagon inside. And so this stuff sits in there with that ceramic median, and it just tumbles. And I mean, it will wreck. If the knife was sharp when it went in, it will not be sharp after. But I asked him, I was like, you know, if a knife that is just straight like this, right off the grinder, versus a knife that has been blasted and tumbled, there's a definite difference in feel on the stones. And I asked him, I was like, is there a possibility that with the way that tumbler works, and the way it's smashing into the stones, into the ceramic triangles, I was like, is there some work hardening occurred? And Elliot was like, there's a good possibility. And I'm like, not the whole blade, but just that area at the edge where it's thin. And so the actual forward part where it's thin, I'm pretty sure that when you do a tumble, you do some work hardening. And I did a couple bucks that I tumbled, and they sharpen completely differently after I blasted and tumbled them for a while than they did before. And so there's another advantage to that tumble, and that winds up being that it kind of makes the edge ever so slightly harder. Did I turn on actual live chat, or if I just got top chat? Because top chat is not cool. Not everybody gets pulled in. There's an algorithm that, yep, live chat. Okay, cool, live chat. Yep. I don't want anybody to be left out. So Nicholas's thing, when we were driving down, it's only a few minutes away. He was pretty much on his way home. Nicholas told me, he's like, look, here's the thing. You started your own business, and you're doing okay at it. He said, if you want to drink a beer while you're working, you know what? He's like, joke them if they can't take a fuck. And I was like, all right, brother. He's like, you fucking have a beer if you want. Like, all right, I'm gonna. I'm glad this weather has cleared up. I was afraid today was going to be a repeat of yesterday, where it was just cold, wet, and nasty, and everything hurt. David Scott. I just have not had the right, I haven't gotten the stuff. I need to get the clay, and then I'm gonna do it, and then Elliot's gonna, he's gonna help me render it and shit. The stone holder would be something great, but it has to be right. It has to be something where I can feel because like I said, I'm not even looking. I use the feel and the way the stone is interfacing with the knife, the feel and the sound. If I lose one of those, I have a hard time. I can't sharpen wearing gloves. I had gotten some Kevlar gloves, cut-proof gloves, and I was gonna wear one because I cut my hands occasionally. And I can't do it. It has to feel right. So I'm gonna try it. I just need to get some dry set polymer modeling clay, some air dry modeling clay, the polymer stuff, and do it that way, and then just make what I think would feel right and stuff like that. So I think that's my next big thing. It's just, you know how it is, David, just making time for stuff. Like you said, you have a hard time making calls and stuff because you're just focused on doing work. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I've got so much stuff in. I love these stones, David. I can't tell you. David, so you guys know, David Scott is the guy that makes every one of these matrix diamond stones for Edge Pro. So, and that's the only place you can get them. And so he and I have talked about a holder for these so that don't, so I can hold on to them so they don't slip. So yeah, I'm gonna just have to go get the stuff or order the stuff to do it. I have an idea in my head of what it's gonna look like. But translating that can be challenging sometimes. So I'm gonna do this one, and then I have to finish Bradley's knife that I refinished, the buck with the orange peel. I gotta sharpen that today. And I was dressing my stones when or I had just finished dressing my stones and was just getting started to sharpen when Nicholas showed up. So he's an MA on one of the ships. So he works the night shift. He's a master at arms, basically a ship's police department. Why do you want them 1x4? No, actually, it's cleared up. It's actually, I came out here because it's more comfortable to sharpen out here than it was in the house. I got ready to start, and I was like, man, it's kind of warm in the house. Oh, KME. There is, you don't necessarily have to get a different type of stone. So that's David. So, you don't necessarily have to get a different type of stone for that. There is oh fuck, I forgot my, that's why I'm wearing the grubby shirt. There's an adapter for the KME where you can use the Edge Pro stones. I've seen it. I don't know how well it works. And that would be, because I don't know if David's planning on making anything else. You know, that's his side of the business. I know he makes them for Edge Pro, but you know, that might be an option you want to look at instead of trying to get the 1x4s, because are these the 4? These are 2 by 3 and a quarter. So, what was that? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a capstone holder, pretty much. So, I know it worked. Shit, dust in my eye already. It is a little windy out here. I will say it's a little windy out here, but it's better than sweating. I have a really good idea. I'm going to go ahead and do the clay thing. Yeah, I could smell it last night when I was out here for a little bit yesterday, before I went to Matt's. I was just picking some stuff up and cleaning some stuff up and looking at my stones and noting the fact that I did need to dress them, because yesterday was a big day of sharpening. So I'm reprofiling at the same time. There you go. He's gonna make them some bench stone sizes. That would be cool for straight razors. That might be a good option for me to look into, because my Chaucera stones, the last batch of them I bought, I'm really upset with them. I have an old 5,000 grit that has lasted forever. Not a single problem. My 8,000 and my 10,000, nothing but problems. I don't know what they changed, but they are not the same. They're nowhere near. I'm basically gonna have to throw the 8,000 grit stone away. That is, like, it should be perfectly good. I'm gonna wind up having to throw this stone away because it's cracking. And I mean, there's a lot of stone there, and I paid a lot of money for this stone. So I basically only have one side of it I can use, because if I try and do a straight razor, it makes they are enough that on something super fine like a straight razor, that's gonna cause you a problem. I dropped it something. Yeah, I love this. What was that? Two-part stone holder part. Yeah, like I said, that's the part that I want to make out of clay. What will fit in my hand, and then something I can hold in my fingers that will transfer that feeling, but not, because what happens is when my hands get wet, then these stones start to slide around a little bit, especially I put a little bit of soap in the water to break the tension and lift the steel residue a little bit, because that really seems to help. And it's just, they get slippery, and I've cut myself numerous times, especially on recurves, the really skinny ones, because here's the thing, if we make that holder, I could put the really skinny ones in that holder, because the dovetail's gonna be the same. But I like this size stone because that's all the stone I need, that 1 inch wide. I find myself, as I'm using it, I only use one side of the stone, and I have to flip the stone and back and forth. It's always a dry spell out here after it rains. When it rains following it, there is no just rain. It's a dry spell every time it rains. Isabel loves it. Isabel, I knew that she's my kid because she loves that smell too. The smell of a rainstorm that's coming. All right, I think knock that burr off, and then we will go back to this other side. I still have another knife of this guys to do, but I wanted to get this one done because it's the one that's going to take the most reprofiling. What did somebody say here? That's been dry, yeah. This might be a thing where I just have a beer in every video, and just Nico's dad does it. It's like for the haters, and he's drinking a beer. Maybe that will just be a thing. Daryl Ralph sent me a message yesterday. I told him what was going on with, I told him I was going to steal that thing. If nobody hates you, you're doing something wrong. And I was like, yeah, I got a hater that's actually like actively trying to damage the business. And he goes, well, if they ain't hating on you, you ain't making waves. And I was like, this is true. This is true. Okay. Which Charles Anderson is this? First of all, is this Texas or Sweden? You don't pick an angle for a straight razor. Straight razor has got a hollow and it's got a spine. Your spine sets your angle. You lay that spine flat and you just slide it down, and then you don't take it off of the. There's two, Sarah. There are two Charles Andersons, one in Texas, one in Sweden. And so I can't, and I'm far enough away, I can't see the, if you guys knew how small your logos are, I can't see your fucking profile picture. So you lay that flat so that the spine and the edge are touching, and you pull it in, and then when you get to the end, the spine, you don't actually lift the razor off, and then you lay it down and you come back. That way there's no chance of you lifting it and dinking that edge down into the stone. You don't actually set the edge. What makes them difficult is they are an exercise in patience, because you can't use any pressure. Zero. The weight of the razor is what does it. And a straight razor that has to be root profiled will take you a while. This one does need to hit a piece of hardwood. Where's my wood block? Where is my wood block? Huh. I had a wood block for this. We'll use this one right now. Knock that burr off a little bit. That way it doesn't bite into the stone as bad. So I don't pay attention to how they, yep. That doesn't make them easier to sharpen. You still gotta, there's a technique to it. Straight razors take longer than anything to sharpen because, like I said, it's an exercise, because, like I said, it's an exercise in frickin' patience. And then just like knives, you have to go up every once, because that's all I'm doing right now. I'm not actually switching to this 250 grit. I am just seeing if there are little low spots. I'll explain that in a second. So as you're sharpening on one stone, you'll get a scratch pattern that obscures everything, especially on something really coarse like this. And so it looks like you've completely leveled that edge and everything's smooth. And then you go up a stone and you get to working, or you go up two stones and you're like, oh, fuck, there's a spot right here where I'm not hitting with this stone. Well, that's because the grit on this is so much higher that the abrasive is able to, like, here's your little low spot, so that abrasive is really big, it can get up in there. You switch to a little bit smaller, and then you have a spot where you're not hitting because that bigger abrasive was able to get in there, and it gives it the scratch pattern, but you can't see it until you go up a stone or two, that you have a low spot that you're not able to touch yet. So every once in a while, I'll stop in the middle of what I'm doing and then see if I'm getting that full scratch pattern off. So when I go up a stone, that way I don't go up two stones and be like, gotta go all the way down. Sometimes it still happens. I keep reaching over, I forget that I put those in the wash. This looks like we may have gotten it. Give it a little bit more and see if there's any low spots that show up. Now, I mean, if you're just doing a really coarse edge, like if I was going to 250 on this for like one of my fisherman friends, I wouldn't even really worry about it. It's pretty much done. But this guy wants to take it all the way up, and if I'm taking this all the way to 12,000 grit, I can't have any low spots. It's got to be perfectly flat and even. That's why that costs more. That's why that costs more. Nah, you're not late. It's not gonna be a long one though. I'm gonna stop here before too long because I get distracted when you guys are here and I'm sharpening, so. I hate the sound. The sound of XHP on a stone. It has a distinct, gritty sound. I mean, you can just hear it. Distraction's not good when you're trying to hurry. When you're trying to get things done, and then I take time out from what I'm doing to stop and explain things and stuff like that. God, it just sounds... I hate the sound. I hate sharpening XHP that's real hard. It just sounds awful. It really does. So we're probably going to end this here in just a couple minutes because I already did an hour-long live feed. See how this sharpens up. I will say Cold Steel's XHP, probably some of the best. And the one I like the least is Spyderco's. And it all has to do with heat treat. This feels a lot like Spyderco's. Oh, she's going over to Tim's. Well, you tell her to tell Mr. Higgins that I think that I said hi and to have a happy Memorial Day weekend. What do I think of what? What do I think of Strider's XHP? I've only ever sharpened like one Strider in XHP. Most of them have been in. Gonna have to look. The one in here, the one I currently have here at the house that showed up yesterday, is in S30. It's in S30V. Strider's S30V heat treat's actually pretty good. They get, I don't know how the edges hold up on them, but yeah, S30V. Thanks, Fuzzy. They sharpen. They get really, really sharp. But he uses that Bose heat treat, that Boss heat treat, BOS heat treat formula on most of his stuff, and some of that stuff is pretty genius on what they can get out of S30V. I don't know how it holds up chipping wise and little nicks and chips, but they definitely are up there with their heat treat. I know that their AT34, ATS something, 32, whatever it was. That heat treat on that was amazing, and that's just basically it's a type. It's almost like 440. It's like 440C. But the heat treat on it was what made it amazing. It was never like a fucking great steel. Jack, why do you insist on saying things that make me want to block you? I'm just kidding. Oh, here's the thing. I'm kind of conflicted. Because, like, I say how much I don't like Emerson's, but the last couple that have... Well, hi, Kat. The last couple that have come in have been so much better than the ones I saw before. And it's the newer ones. So, I don't know... I don't know where to go on that. You know what I mean? Like, I still don't like Emerson's, but the fact is that the last couple have been actually, yeah, there's been a marked improvement on the ones that I saw. Such a fucking muscle memory just to reach over and grab that to wipe it off. We're almost there. Just need a little bit more time on this stone. I'm not gonna drop back down. I think I can finish because this stone is still pretty aggressive. This is a 250. I know they got rid of that. I know they changed their entire detent thing, their entire detent setup. They don't use that double detent that really didn't do anything. They had two detents, and as far as I was concerned, you know, in my opinion, like I said, Ernie did everything for a reason. That's his reason. Everybody makes knives differently, but the fact was, I saw that double detent as just not even being a detent. It was basically a really loose slip joint, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of people that love Emerson knives. I'm not knocking it. There's people that don't like Ferrum Forge knives. So, I mean, there's, everybody has a different opinion, and I can acknowledge that. That's why I like to say, like, people get bent out of shape on my channel about, like, oh, I can't believe you said this, I can't believe you said that. And I was like, look, here's the disclaimer. It's my opinion, and it's my channel. So therefore, you get my opinion. I would love to have, like, other people, like, come on the channel and, Jesus, and look at stuff and provide their opinion, but, I mean, really no one has. So, I did a shared live feed with Nick Shabazz that one time on Instagram. That was cool, but as far as, like, having someone else on the channel, you get Matt every once in a while, you get Nico every once in a while, but, somebody that's more unbiased, by my opinion, somebody that's not affected by my opinions, not somebody that, like, those guys are moderators for my channel. I'm like I bring them on the channel, and I can't honestly say, I mean, I love them both like brothers, but I can't honestly say that if I brought them on the channel that they would have an unbiased opinion. You know what I mean? They have a bias. They're my friends. I'd much rather have somebody that is less susceptible to that. Nick Shabazz has his own opinion, and that's just it. And that's what I like about Nick. I might disagree with Nick Shabazz. I might not agree with him, but I can see the validity of his point. And that's, like, Nick loves the Sleece Bowie. I don't like it. We both can agree. It's a well-made knife. It's just not something I like. But there's so many people out there that the second they shield themselves from anything that is differential to what they believe and what they like and things like that, and they get violently opposed, like to the point where I said something about the Antifa, and now I have got basically somebody that's making a campaign, because the first post that came up from this gentleman was and I took him down. It was on the Antifa video where he's like, "You're showing your ignorance, Mike." And I'm like, if you have an opinion, bring it to your channel. Send me a link. Show me what your differences of opinion are. But don't be abusive. And don't turn around and say, "Oh, well, because he voted for Trump, we're going to, I'm gonna make a campaign against his business." Well, that's like wiping before you poop. It don't make no fucking sense. You know what I mean? So, I'll admit, I'm really strong in my opinion, and I may voice things that in the comments sound as though I'm not willing to listen to anyone's opinion. But a lot of times I think that gets misconstrued. I am simply stating my opinion. But to start a campaign against something, I think, I'm looking at this scratch pattern, I'm not seeing any residual from the 250. I'm at 650. But I'm taking off a good bit. When I reprofile, I'm taking off, that was a brand new clean stone. It had not had a knife touch it since I dressed it this morning, and I need to make sure that I keep it wet. It helps lift that. There's more wind out here than there is in the house, and so they dry up. Oh, guys, I will stick around. You guys want me to stick around and sharpen? I know that people have said, I can't watch a full 60-minute live feed. I'm like, that's fine. But there are people that do. And I've had people watch a 3.5-hour live feed one time. That was an interesting evening. I'm going to tell you a secret, too, to help you with getting better consistent edges and smooth edges. One of the things that people forget to do, they'll dress their stones. They'll dress this, but then they leave that really sharp edge. Well, what happens when you leave it really sharp edge is if your stone gets hit by that, hey, what's up, Matthias? What happens is it'll chip, and then you have a spot that's got sharp corners, and then you drag that edge that you just made across that, and it skips across, and you get a scratch. And so every time I dress the stones, I'm just gonna take you guys in. We're gonna go find one of those. We're gonna go grab one of my rags. Come on, let's go. Because if I don't do it, I'm gonna go nuts. And so, oh, bird shit right on the. I hope it didn't get in the house. It shit right on the screen. I wonder how much of it wound up there. So I hope I don't lose you guys because the garage has not got a lot of signal. But I have to go grab one of these fucking towels or I'm gonna go nuts. I'll keep reaching over there. Out there. Hopefully is one. Oh no. They're usually right here. What am I gonna do? I'm missing I have no shop towels. Well, that's right. I got a whole box of stuff in here. Just hang one of these up. So, I forget what I was talking about. But I was saying, a difference of opinion is not a bad thing. It's actually a very good thing. So, my sister and I disagree all the time, but it come down to it, we still get along. Hey, your toy's out here. Why is your toy out here in my yard? It's warming up. This is a good day. Well, I promised, if you go back and watch the beginning of it, I'll explain it to you, Chris. Oh, shit. This cord only has, hang on a second, guys. I gotta pause. Yeah, I just don't like the shampoo. I didn't like the way it felt in hand. I just did not generally like that knife. But I can appreciate the fact that some people do. I'm gonna have to take this thing apart and adjust the lock bar tension. It's got some play. I'll tighten the pivot first and see, but yeah, I mean, just don't understand attitudes today. And here's the thing, like, I've found enough about this individual to know that it's not like he's a 19 to 20-year-old kid. From what I can find, I think the guy's like my age. But so anyway, Chris, what I was saying was, what you missed was, I had no intention of doing a live feed. My friend Nicholas texted me, well, he called me and then texted me because he can't call through. He's like, hey, I left you a message. I'm on my way to your house. I'm gonna kidnap you. We're gonna go do something. And I was like, all right. So he takes me to left you a message. I'm on my way to your house. I'm gonna kidnap you. We're gonna go do something. And I was like, all right. So he took me to the mini mart just down the road, the Navy Exchange mini mart down the road from my house. He's a Navy buddy of mine. He just lives around here. He just got off work, worked all night, got off work just here earlier, and took me to the store, bought a 30-pack, and he goes, here's the deal. I'm gonna buy you this beer, but you better do a live feed just for the haters and do a little day drinking. So this was Nicholas's idea, and it's in my Brody Roa HD Industries koozie. Guys, I got a question. Do any of you guys know? I asked my sister, and she said she didn't know. Any of you guys know, is there a way to demand a specific shipping? He's like, he said, joke them if they can't take a fuck. You sit there, you drink a beer. Yeah, free beer. It's not really free. I've bought that dude a lot of beer too. He was junior. I was fairly senior to him, and we when we go out drinking, he's like, oh, I'm out of money, we gotta go back. And I was like, no, you don't. I'll buy you a beer. I actually know Nicholas longer than I've known my wife. So yeah, he's 22, 23 years now? He's actually past, he'd be past. No. Yeah, 1997, he's past 20, he's at 22. He's a chief though, so he can stick around. Oh, so is there a way to demand shipping a specific, like if I want to make sure it's only delivered by either FedEx or USPS? Because I've ordered a bottle of Rem oil weeks ago, and it said it was out for delivery, and it said it was processing, and then it came back to out for delivery, and it stayed that way for like 3 days. And so I contacted Amazon. They're like, yeah, it probably got lost. We'll ship another one. So the second one happened again just a couple days ago. And it's because they're not using USPS. It's coming from like their couriers that pick stuff up and drop it off. But I need this shit for a guy's knife. I ordered Rem oil, and it's about the only thing to use on a fucking auto. This stuff does not. This stuff, this Tough Lube, Tough Glide, it's, matter of fact, listen, that's where it's going, because it's garbage. It gums up. The Rem oil does not. If anything, Rem oil will clean out any residue from that, clean up the knife. But I've ordered a bottle of it, because mine came up missing. I've ordered a bottle of it. It came up missing in delivery, and then I shipped it. I had them ship another one, and it got lost, and so now I'm waiting on the third bottle, and I have no idea where it's at. Because it's not USPS, so I can't track its current location. And I've seen them do shit, like I came home last night. No, I already ordered it. It's on its way. I paid for it. I came home last night and Amazon had dropped off something because somebody wasn't home. Set it on top of the mailboxes where everybody could see it, just getting soaking wet. So I picked it up last night and I took it to my neighbor. I was like, I don't know why they do. They're like, we've been home. I was like, I don't know. The fucking thing's been sitting there in the rain all night. And I'm like, they hire those guys as contractors, and those guys don't. Those guys do not care. Well, it takes a little pride in what you do. I mean, that's the way I treat. One of the guys was like, I don't understand why you got so many customers. Da, 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 da. One of the haters. And I was like, because you send me a knife, I treat it like it's mine. You guys' knives do not get any, as a matter of fact, you guys' knives probably get better treatment than my shit. My shit never gets sharpened. Because if I'm sharpening, I'm wearing stones. If I'm sharpening my stuff, I'm wearing stones and I'm not making money. It's another one of those wiping before you poop things. Guys, if you are Patreons, really? Because I have not gotten a single fucking picture. My stuff never even made it off the truck. Twice now. How do you find said pictures? Because like I'm saying, I'm pretty sure my shit never even made it off the truck because it said it was out for delivery, and then it shifted back to something else, processing, and then it went back out for delivery, and then it said it was missing. So, not happy. Well, now is the end of sharpening. Now we start honing. I don't like these as well. These have a tendency to grab more grit and maybe cause a scratch. But I can't find any of the t-shirt material. And I don't want to just cut up a t-shirt just cause. We are currently at, what is gritty on these? I washed these twice after I flattened them. The fuck? So we're currently at right around 1,000 grit. So this is where I consider that I've stopped sharpening and I'm now honing. that edge because I'm not taking off. I can't reprofile. You cannot reprofile on a 1,000 grit. I've tried it. I used to. That was my workhorse stone, and I realized how long it was taking me. And that's when I started adding my coarser stones in and realized that I was not doing myself any favors. I just don't like XHP. Just sounds horrible on a stone. I know it's just the steel, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the sound. I don't like the sound of its interface with the stone. It just doesn't sound the same to me. I don't know what it is that's in XHP. I don't know where it's higher carbides, bigger carbides. And yes, I am using diamond stones. XHP. No. I mean, I was getting good results, but the thing was, I was going through one of those King 1,000 grit bench stones like once every, month or so. Once I started getting busy and actually had customers, I realized real quick, I was like, I have to add some stuff to my repertoire. To my ensemble of gear. And don't get me wrong, this stone still does cut like a beast, even at 1,000 grit. See, M4 takes a wicked edge. So it looked like this when I started, but the fact is, like, you're not taking off an amount of material that's significant enough to change the actual profile or angle. Now what I'm doing is I'm just refining scratch pattern, and I have to get, I'm not going to take this all the way to 12,000 right now because my 12,000 grit stone needs cleaned up and soaked for a little bit before I do that. It still is it's not a complete splash and go. My 12,000 grits, or my 10,000 grits got to get cleaned up a little bit. So I'm only going to take this to about 8,000 right now, and after I finish, just takes a little bit when I switch to the 10 and 12,000 grit stones. Actually, I'm gonna take it to 4,000. But the nice thing about these diamond matrix, that 4,000, I can take it right off that 4,000 and go straight to 10,000. It is that good of a finish that I would say that the 2,000 is close to a 5,000, and the 4,000 is close to about an 8, maybe even close to a 10 on the finish. Because it's so consistent. Like, even the expensive Chaucera stones still have inconsistency in the grit. And so I've looked into it, and David is saying, like, David's promising that everything that's in that stone is the 8,000 grit. That's all it's in, is 8,000 grit with whatever the substrate he uses, the epoxy or whatever it is that he uses. I don't really know per se what he uses to bond it. But when you look at a Chaucera, it's grit up to 12,000, but that doesn't mean it's consistent grit. So you may go from, like, depending on how your stone, where you're at on the stone, you might go from 8,000 and then get a worse finish on the 10,000 than you did on the 8,000 because you wind up with some inconsistencies in the grit. And I'm like, well, that's not what I want, and that's why I like these. But David is saying that he's seen that you reach a point where with the diamond stones that it doesn't get you anywhere, and actually your bonding agent will cause scratches when you go higher. He said 4,000 is about as high as you would ever be able really to go with these matrix stones and have them be effective and not counterproductive. So there's 1,000. Let's see. And at this stone, I had to order a new one. I think I told you guys that. There's a spot that I think it's just because it's down so low is causing scratches. And I'm gonna see how it works this time. If not, I may have to wait to do this until I get the new stone. But it seems like I just resurfaced it. So I think that I took care of that problem. It doesn't feel like I'm having that issue where there's like some abhorrent grit. But it is pretty worn out. I am sharpening the knife right before yours. I am sharpening a Ray Laconico. I can't remember the name of this particular model, but I'm sharpening a Laconico for a customer. No, it's doing it again. I may just have to see. So many flies today. I think it's just because it's worn so badly that there's just spots where it's not consistent. I think I'm not seeing any deep scratches, but I can feel it. It just does not feel the way I want it. How's that? What's up, Muppet? Ha! I don't like that. I think I'm just going to switch to the 4000. I think I've got it. I'm going real light, and I'm just sticking to areas I know that aren't doing that. Yeah, I'm just going to have to switch. I think I have reached the end of the life of that stone. It got what I wanted, though. It got it to a bit better polish. The 4000 grit's great. I will show you what a finish off of this thing looks like at 4000 grit. So you can see, well, I'm just starting. It's clean stone. We'll see how well this cuts. Even at 4000 grit, these stones are insane on how well they cut. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had diamond stones before. I've never had diamond stones that do this well and feel so much like regular water stones. Even those ones Dwayne sent me that did well, there's a definite difference. Complete difference. So look at that. And so I will go from here. I need to surface, I need to clean up my 10,000 grit, because I can go straight from here to 10,000. And then from 10,000, I can skip that 8,000, or I mean, I can go straight from 12,000 to, or 10,000 to 12,000. I just have to do, I need to resurface both the 12,000 and the 10,000 grit stones. And then I'll have to resurface them again because I use those for straight razors. That's part of the reason that I charge extra, charge a good bit more. I've had so many more people request the higher grit stuff. I may have to actually change that price because I'm doing a lot of damage to those really expensive stones. I never figured I would have so many people ask for such a high grit finish. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. I figured everybody would want to stick around the 3,000 to 5,000 grit, but there are so many people that have stuff that they want to keep in their collection, super mirror polished. Wow, this is some good XHP. Like I said, XHP when it's done well, my goodness, does it take? It takes a super good edge and polishes up. But it's my opinions on XHP were based on some Spyderco stuff that I've gotten in, and it was not good. They were not. I owned one and I gave it to my brother-in-law. The 4,000, you mean? Or 3,000. I don't have a 3,000 grit stone anymore, so I don't actually take stuff to 3,000. I take it to 1,000, and then sometimes I'll go to 4,000. Because there's just, these have eliminated the need for a 3,000. I mean, look at that. That's comparable at the 4,000 on that to my 10,000 grit Chaucera. It really is. Let's strop it. Let's strop it and take a look at it. I want to see if there's any, because sometimes stropping it, you'll see any little scratches that maybe got picked up that you're not seeing. And just knock the rest of the shoulders off for right now. It'll make my life easier when I go up to the super high grit stones, just to see if I need to go back down. No, that's nice and consistent. All right, well, I'll set that aside. Guys, it's been 55 minutes. I did another one. I did another hour long. Sorry, didn't mean to. But, yeah, that's the end of it. I'm gonna shut this off. I did shoot, I'm gonna finish shooting today the video about that Wii integral, the 702. I will have that up sometime today. No, I'm not doing another one. It gets distracting. I've got a lot of work to do, guys. There's a good chance I'm gonna have to pick my daughter up. My wife looked like crap this morning. It's a 601 day. Handling that 702 made me want to put my 601 in my pocket. So, guys, love you all. Like I said in the last one, go see Super Steel Steve's site. I'm gonna put a link in it on the one I was doing. When am I shipping? I haven't even sharpened yours. I haven't even sharpened yours yet. Yours is coming up next. But this is, I have to change water and stuff because that's how much material I took on that last knife. It took me a full hour. So, guys, I gotta hurry up because I gotta get this stuff done so I can start shipping. Yours, Bradley, will probably go out with Chris's tomorrow, along with the stuff that I'm shipping for Elijah Isham to PVK in Vegas. So, I was working on this Ray Laconico for a customer that his stuff showed up right before yours did. So yours, like I said, I gotta see what's up for the weekend. I have a sneaking suspicion that we're gonna have stuff going on this weekend. So your stuff might not even get started until next week sometime. I'm not sitting here forever, but this is one of those ones. This is one of those holidays that I don't work that weekend because I got to go visit my friend's grave up at Point Loma. I got to meet up with some of my friends that knew him and stuff like that. So I got to go up to the it's not a great weekend. And I get my stuff out and I'll do my little tribute to Chris Kyle because I knew Chris and just stuff like that. So not a tribute. I mean, I would do a picture for Instagram and stuff like that. So it's a rough weekend. It's a rough one. So guys, love you. Take it easy. I'll talk to you later. I'm not going to do the thing.